All right, so you have access to the app, and the big question is, how do I get started? What are some tips for using Smart Pricing Table right out the gate? Well, in this video, I'm going to go over a few different things. I'll talk about some of the things that we generally include in a new account. I'll create some line items that will give you some examples and get the gears going. We'll talk about the best way to get started as far as building your system. I'll go over sending and signing. One of the most common questions I have is around sending and signing. And then we'll talk about what to do if you need help and how to get some support. Okay, so I'd like to start with the template page. Now on here, we generally include a few sample proposals. I'll go ahead and open a couple of these. And you can do whatever you'd like with these. If they're just noise, feel free to delete them. You can also keep them there just for reference. You might want to see, for example, some of the design ideas. This has a different design than this one does. You can also get inspiration on the different types of line items that you can create, different setups, etc., etc. You can also co-opt these. So you could simply rename this one and use it as your own. Or you could duplicate it, and that would allow you to keep the original and make changes for your specific case. Okay, so that's the samples. We also include a starter template. So I want to jump in here and go over this a bit. Okay, the first thing in the starter template is a cover page. You can add a logo right here. We just put in parentheses that it can be your logo or their logo. And then this cover page is mostly filled with shortcodes. You can see when I click edit, it shows me these shortcodes. Shortcodes are surrounded by square brackets, and shortcodes insert dynamic information, like when the proposal was created, the name of the proposal creator, etc. So that's your cover page. The next thing is the About Us page. Now, if this is valuable for you, you can keep it. Maybe you want to replace the images, put your staff on here, whatever you'd like. You can also delete it if it doesn't really apply. Scope of work, which I'll go over in detail. And then terms. So most of this terms page is really just kind of a guide on how to, create, put content into the system, some thoughts on your terms. So you'll want to just delete this section after you've read it. And then I have some lorem ipsum examples using headers to show how you could format your terms. And then also a sample intro. So if I click on here, you can see that the sample intro comes ready with some shortcodes for your company's name, your client's company name, and your client's address, if you'd like to use those in your agreement. Okay, so let's go to the scope of work. In here by default, I have some example line items, ways that you can use the system. But let's go ahead. I'm going to create a sample line item. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to add a new heading. I'll say project options. Sorry about that. Okay, note that you can put a description if you'd like into a heading. And that description will show right here underneath it. It's always expanded. And I can create a new line item by simply clicking here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do one for social media marketing. Social media marketing. And the format I suggest, I use this all the time at my old agency. The format I suggest is like this. You start with a summary sentence. Okay, so in this case, maybe it's manage social media account for customer. Then I'll say work included, and I list out the particular work items. I might say 5 posts per month. Maybe I'll say up to 30 comments per month. So maybe in this engagement, I'm agreeing that I'll not only do social media posts, but I'll also engage with the followers as they make comments. And then you could put limitations. So you could say limitation client, or maybe just put a note. I could put note, customer must approve posts within 48 hours. Okay. What you're doing is you're trying to build a fence around your work by describing what's included, potentially what's not included, and limitations or expectations here. So I'm going to say this is $1,500, and I'm going to change the frequency to monthly. Okay, so I'll go ahead and save that, and you can see I've described it. I've obviously dummy information in here. You'd put real stuff, but a clear definition. In this case, I'm putting also a note, a parameter, and it's $1,500 a month. Now, maybe I want to allow people to add more social media posts. So I could do something like this. Additional posts. And I'm going to say, I'm going to do a quantity. And if they want to do additional posts, it's 250 each. I can describe this as well. So if I save this, I now have an upsell inside of my line item. It's $1,500 a month, but they can click on here and they can add additional monthly posts. And now it's $2,500 a month. This is really powerful because this line item can also be saved to a library and you can reuse it over and over and over. One of the big ideas with my platform and what drove my old agency was the idea of productizing your offering. Instead of starting from scratch on all your different proposals, what are the smaller offerings, or how can you break things down into line items that you can clearly define, put parameters around, put upsells if valid, and then you can use them on any proposals you'd like. All of a sudden, proposal writing is less of a grind, and it's more like just taking the Lego pieces and building a proposal quickly. Maybe you customize it a bit, but you get the point. So again, I can save this to the library if I wanted to. I'll actually go ahead and do that. I'm going to add a tag. I'll say testing in this case. You want to give it a category, whatever name you'd like. And then I can save it. Now you can see if I were to delete this, and let's say I'm on another proposal, just imagine. I could just type in social media marketing, and I can add it just like that. I could then customize it on that individual proposal. Okay, so I won't create any more line items. You get the idea, but I will point out that there are other features like you can make something quantity. I could have multiple social media accounts that I'm managing. You can also do quantities on here, as you saw. And then there are other features like, you can do different frequencies. You can do fixed, free, to be decided, or none for the pricing types. And you can also do negative numbers that will act as a credit. So for instance, you could put, I'll do the commenting. I'm just giving a quick example here. But let's say that the customer says they'll do all the comment responses. I could put a negative 250, and then they could click on this. You obviously use different wording, a little more professional, but you can see that actually saved $250 a month off of the total. So we call them modifications because in theory they also could be credits. Okay, what's next on my list? So the next thing is, how do you get started with the platform? I'd say that there's two main ways. One, you could start with a master template of sorts, and you could spend maybe an hour or 2 hours just putting together some of your initial line items, getting some of your content into the system, whatever you'd like. That's great, and it'll pay dividends, and it's really helpful. That said, sometimes people want to be able to make a proposal right away. Or maybe you've got an immediate need and you just don't have time to kind of think through a template. Well, I can also go over to proposals. So this is the second way that you can jump into the system. And I can just create a new proposal. I'm going to use this starter template. I'll put sample and then business name ABC company. Again, if I were using the address or a website, maybe in the terms, I could fill those out. And I'll do John Doe. Well, now, even though this is a work in progress, I can just launch off of this template. So these were example things that I left in the template. I'm going to go ahead and delete those. Additional items for consideration. I'll go ahead and maybe I'll repurpose this one. I'll say SEO audit, and obviously I would change the settings down here, or the description. But then you can just start adding line items. So I could say a cold email outreach. I could define it, give it a price, $1,200. Maybe it's I'll create a system. So cold email outreach system. Maybe this is a one-time deal. I save it, and now it's on my this individual proposal. It just exists in this proposal. But if I'm needing to create a proposal right away, and this is the method, the route I'm going, I can just then save any of these line items that I really like to the library. So maybe pick 5, 6, however many that are keepers, save them to the library, and then I can later add them back to my template. And here's the big idea. With this product, it's not about just building proposals. You want to build a system where your job is getting easier and easier. And when you get your proposals right, projects go smoother, less expectation management issues, and greater team morale. So regardless if you go this route, I would always advise when you find something, you create something and you're like, this is great, save it to the library, and then you can add it instantly to any other proposal or template. Okay, I'm pretty much finished up here. 2 more quick notes. I wanted to point out our Help Center. The Help Center, the big idea of this Help Center is 2 to 5 minute videos in general that are easy to digest on specific topics like using tables, short codes, the line item library. Some of my more common questions are, what does sending look like? Maybe if you haven't sent something out yet. What does signing look like? These are quick little videos that you can pop open. It'll start playing and you can get an answer and get back on the road. We also have in-app chat, as you can see down here, but I always recommend check out the Help Center first, because one, it's instant, and then it's also visual, and we cover most topics in this video library. The last thing is sending and signing. I'm not going to talk about this much, but when you send a proposal, just note that there's 2 options. You can create an email or you can get a link. Both are tracked. But if you want to see what that what the email looks like, this will actually open up our Help Center with the sending video open, and so you can watch that real quick. If I were to mark this as sent, so now I've sent it out to the person, and now at this button I have the option to sign or finalize the document. Actually, let me adjust this really quick. So I'll do joe@smartpricingtable.com. And when I, oh, that's funny. Excuse me. Let me fix this again. Okay, I'll do Joe2 just to fake it. Okay, it had a little hiccup because I put the same email for the signer and the sender. So now if I push sign finalize, you'll see that there's also a video for how signing works. So you can see what it looks like for the agreement and the proposal to be converted to a PDF and go out for signatures. All right, so that's kind of generally the quick tips that I give for when you're first starting in the system. Again, don't hesitate to reach out. If you can't find something in the Help Center, click on our in-app chat, and I'm excited to see you in the app.